Okay, now I'm saying it. Hello, hello. How is everyone doing? I'm really excited to be here. I don't know about you, and just let us know where you're joining us from in the comment section. Where you're joining us from, either any part of the world, just let us know. I'm really excited. Today is International Day for Women and Girls in STEM. It's such an awesome opportunity to just gather here and deal with a lot of things that women and girls are facing in the STEM world. This is the right opportunity and this is the right time to get your family members to come join you, brother, sister, anybody. Just tell them it's time and it's time and it's time. Share the link with anybody. You don't want anybody to miss this wonderful opportunity. It's gonna be very exciting. I'm really excited. I don't know about you all, but just constantly let us know where you're joining us from, how excited you are to be here. Very well, very well. Let's get the comments coming. Let's get the comments coming. Let's get the comments coming. Don't be alone. Don't be alone. Call somebody. Be with somebody. Don't let this knowledge that is about to be shared to go away like that. Call somebody and somebody, you need to be here. You need to be here. You need to be here. But without wasting much time, as an organization, we believe that everything we do, God should be put first. God should be put first. If you believe that, just put in the comment section, I believe that God should be put first in whatsoever we do. And without wasting time, I will just go right into doing the opening prayer so we can formally begin this wonderful celebration. I'm really excited. I don't know about you, because right now, oh my goodness, I'm just super excited. I'm just super excited. So we'll dive right into the opening prayer for this session, because we believe that God should be put first. So I will do the opening prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for such a wonderful moment. We thank you for giving us the opportunity to celebrate International Day for Women and Girls in STEM. Father, we thank you for the lives that are joining us across the world. We thank you for what you have installed in the life of the speakers that they are going to unveil today, so many people will learn. We thank you for this opportunity. We appreciate you for giving us this privilege as an organization and as a program to touch lives. We thank you, Lord. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. And the people shall say, Amen, 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 amen. I'm really excited. I don't know about you all. So let's just get anybody you think of, let them join this session, because it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So we will have a very awesome and a wonderful video about this event. A very top-notch video that highlights women and girls in STEM. So we will actually display that shortly, and get your notebooks ready, because you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna benefit a lot from the video. So the media team, let's have the video rolling.
International Day of Women and Girls in STEM. They told her science wasn't for girls. They said equations were too complex, that laboratories weren't built for her hands, that innovation was a man's world.
But she refused the limitation. She picked up the books they said were too heavy. She stepped into spaces they claimed weren't hers. She asked questions that had never been asked before. And with every experiment, every breakthrough, every discovery, she proved them wrong.
She proved them wrong. Science,
Technology,
engineering,
and mathematics.
is not a privilege reserved for a selected few. It is a force powered by curiosity, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. When women and girls step into this space, transformation is realized.
Yet, boundaries remain. In classrooms, workplaces, and institutions. Outdated norms continue to silence potential. The gender gap in STEM is not a reflection of ability, it is a reflection of missed opportunities. And today, that must change.
Indeed, that must change. Because the future of science is not written in history books. It is written in the hands of those bold enough to challenge the status quo. Every time a girl dares to dream of being an engineer, a physicist, a coder, a researcher, a leader, you name it, she moves the world forward.
So today, we do more than celebrate. We commit to breaking barriers, to amplifying voices, and to ensuring that no girl is ever told that science is not for her. The future innovation belongs to everyone, and when women rise, we all rise.
And so, we ignite that spark, fueling a revolution of thoughts, a movement of hearts, and a future rewritten by the fearless. Every breakthrough is a battle once against all expectations. Every discovery a step into a world where potential is limitless.
We stand on the edge of possibility, daring to challenge every limit and overturn every misconception. With every experiment, every innovative idea, and every determined stride forward, we reclaim the narrative. STEM is a realm for everyone, not just a select few.
STEM is a realm for everyone, not just a select few. This is our call to action, a call to tear down walls of doubt and build bridges of opportunity. Let us pledge to cultivate environments where every question is welcome, every challenge is faced with resilience, and every dream is given the chance to flourish. When women and girls lead in STEM, they pave the way not only for themselves, but for generations to come, transforming communities and inspiring the world.
Together, we embrace the challenges of today and the promises of tomorrow. The journey of innovation is endless, and its legacy is forged in the courage to defy the status quo. This is our moment to shine, our time to rise, and our opportunity to ensure that the touch of innovation and creativity burns brighter than ever before.
So, dear listener, on this very important occasion, let's pledge together. Repeat after us. The revolution in STEM starts now.
The revolution in STEM starts now.
Let passion, perseverance, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge light our way to a future without boundaries.
Light our way to a future without boundaries.
Wow, wow, wow. I told you guys, this is gonna be an awesome video. It's so rich in content. The graphics are so great. And I've just been taking notes because as I'm already learning, like I told you before. So get somebody if you're still alone, get somebody to join. Share the link with somebody and tell them that you have to be here, especially young girls and women. Get them to join because the STEM gap, it has to be closed, and this is the beginning. And one of the things that was mentioned in the video, it says that the future innovation belongs to everyone, which means you cannot separate gender from it. You cannot separate girls and women and say no, it doesn't belong to them, because it belongs to everybody. Just let us know in the comment section what you think about the video, what touches you, what have you learned from this awesome video. And another thing that was also shared was that if women rise, we all rise. So putting women aside and saying the STEM field is not for them is not your story. If you're a girl or a woman out there, it's not your story, because when women and girls rise, we all rise. And that is the fact. We will all rise as they continue to rise. And finally, it says the revolution in STEM starts now. Now is the time. If you have been looking down on yourself as a girl or as a woman and saying, oh, I don't think STEM is for me, I'm not good in this area, now is the time. Don't wait for another time. Now is the time. And as we dive into the panel discussion, you will learn a lot from our awesome panels. And without wasting much time, I would love to introduce our wonderful moderator for the panel discussion, Honorable Abdul Karim Baji. Can we welcome Honorable Abdul Karim Baji? Can we welcome him all? Can you welcome him? Can you welcome Honorable Abdul Karim Baji? Now, if you know Honorable Abdul Karim Baji, you will know that Abdul Karim Baji is a tech advocate, very passionate about tech. And not only that, he's also the Secretary General of Coaches United Nations Simulation. So let's make welcome Honorable Abdul Karim Baji as he guides us into the panel discussion so we can have an awesome and a wonderful panel discussion.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us. I would like to welcome you today to this very important occasion, the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Once again, it is my pleasure to be your moderator for this panel discussion. And looking at perspectives and realities, we live in a world where women continue to be sidelined. I am of the belief that men and women should work side by side. We should be co-actors, we should be co-creators, we should be working hand in hand to support one another, to complement one another, and be each other's keeper towards creating a world that is not only inclusive, but at the same time empower women to be champions of change. It's really interesting that whenever topics related to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics come on board, I am always passionate about them because I believe that we live in a global village, and today anything that we do is directly or indirectly related to these different fields. And the statistics are also simultaneously clear. Globally, women make up only about 29% of the STEM workforce. And in many regions, including the Gambia in particular, the number is even lower. Gender stereotypes, limited access to education, and even lack of institutional support continue to discourage young girls from pursuing careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And yet, despite these challenges, women are making remarkable strides in the STEM field itself. And during the panel discussion, you would get to hear from our amazing panelists who are not only actors and players, but have equally been contributing meaningfully in terms of empowering other women, bring them on board, steering change, steering innovation, among others. And yeah, but again, like looking at it from groundbreaking research to digital innovation, we see women leading the way. But the journey is far from over. And today's panel brings together key voices in this movement, leaders, advocates, and even change makers who are driving initiative to break these barriers. We would, during the panel discussion, of course, we would explore the challenges, highlighting opportunities, and discuss obviously solutions to ensure that more girls and women can not only enter, but also thrive in the STEM fields and the leadership as a whole. So joining me on this panel are two amazing women who have been contributing, like I said, meaningfully in the STEM field. And one of them is a mentor, a mom, a role model, an auntie, a key player in the socioeconomic development of the Gambia, particularly within the tech field. And she is no one other than Auntie Kodu Jeng. Auntie Kodu, I'm giving you this title, Dr. Kodu Jeng.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone listening. It's a pleasure to be here today with you. And I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the organizers of this event. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope to learn from others and also share the little I have. Thank you.
Awesome, Auntie Ko. It's a pleasure to have you here on board as well. So for our audience out there, just to give you a brief historical context of who Dr. Kodu is, that's a title I'm not giving you, Auntie Kodu. during this panel discussion in a way, just to give you a little bit of a historical context of who Auntie Kodu is, what has she been doing, her family background, and briefly what has she been doing in relation to STEM, bringing other women on board, providing mentorship opportunities, coaching, winning accolades internationally and nationally as well. Just to dive in a little bit, Kodu Jeng is a highly influential professional specializing in telecommunication and gender equity in STEM education. She is the president and founder of Women in STEM Gambia, YSTEM Gambia, and the CEO of YSTEM Africa, an organization with a presence in 16 African countries. With over 2 decades of experience in telecommunication, including fiber and microwave radio transmission, Kudu's journey began as a technician at the Gambia Cellular Limited. That is our very own GAMCEL. She has received professional and educational training from France, Ghana, India, the UK, China, Morocco, and the Gambia. Wow. 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 Auntie Kudu, I want to be like you when I grow up. And is a trained project manager from the Cambridge Center of Excellence. Coming from an underprivileged background, Kodu understands the challenges of limited access to education and opportunities. Despite this hardship, she persevered and became a passionate advocate for people from disadvantaged communities. This experience deeply influenced her drive to help others break barriers and access opportunities in STEM fields. As an advocate for women in STEM, Kodu works tirelessly to address gender disparities in the field. Her leadership and dedication have earned her recognition as one of Africa's 100 most influential women for 2024, and as one of the 80 tribalizing African women in tech and AI by UNESCO. She was also being awarded the STEM Woman of the Year award and continues to inspire others through her work and inspiring people like me to step out of my comfort zone to do more than expected. Why? Because we have people like her out there who believe in STEM, who believe in women, who believe in girls, and sacrificing everything that they need to do just to make sure that women are empowered. Tech and digital inclusion become a necessity in every aspect of our life. Thank you, Auntie Kodu, and welcome once again.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So next on our line of panelists, we have an amazing lady, Madeline Ileleji, an advocate of digital inclusion, a business developer from Joko Labs Banjul, a partner, someone I have time without numbers collaborated with, someone I have worked with tirelessly. She's been a mentor, a role model in a way, and someone who have gone beyond boundaries, both within and outside of the Gambia, to not only empower women, but starting from the grassroots, making sure that children who don't even have the context, some people that are often left behind, are introduced into the digital space to make sure that they have the critical skills and knowledge needed to drive in this digital economy or this global village. And Madeline, welcome. Before I even dive into just giving our audience who you are, what your background is, and just to give them a historical context of where all this started. Welcome, Madeline Ileleji.
Thank you, Abdul Karim. It's a pleasure being here.
You know, communication with you or anything about anything that have to do with discussion related to technology with you is always amazing. But just to give our audience who you are, just to tell our audience who you are and what you have been doing, Madeline Ileleji, driving community impact through shared learning and networking and things that drew me to the innovation space. Madeline has a degree in physics, and which her passion for working with people using tech was her drive in joining Joko Labs Banjul as the business development manager, where she used ICT as a catalyst for development and education. Here, she centers her work around startups, entrepreneurs to run the leadership, entrepreneurship, and awareness program. For female startups, she has also trained over 200 women in digital security. Madeline, is that you? Oh my God. I am already excited. Digital skills and advocacy, working with women in rural Gambia, as well as working with kids using design thinking, coding, creative reading and writing to boost creativity in children and introduce innovative approaches towards teaching and learning. Moving forward, she's a data enthusiastic, partnering with stakeholders to ensure that there is meaningful access in education, with the focus in coding and digital literacy. She volunteers for the Gambia National Internet Governance Forum and the Information Technology Association of the Gambia in November 2022. She took part in the 17th Annual Internet Governance Forum held in Ethiopia as a UN Economic Commission to Africa UNECA volunteer under the Rapporteur Group. She was a fellow of the Zovu Digital Storytelling 2022 and a climate change and SDG advocate using data and storytelling to shed light on the impact of climate change in the Gambia. She enjoys playing football. Oh, Madeline, so you do play football, huh? Volleyball, chess, reading, fantasy, novels, and she is a space enthusiast. And beyond that, Madeline is also one of the key contributors of one of the digital rights most important document when it comes to digital inclusion in the Gambia, which is, Madeline, I will invite you to tell us that in a bit. It's called Londa in a way. But we will dive into that during the panel discussion, Madeline. So once again, Madeline, Kodu, welcome on board. It is a pleasure having all of you on board as we look forward to have this meaningful discussion centered around empowering women in the STEM space. Welcome once again.
Thank you, Abdulkarim.
Yeah. So just to give a synopsis to our audience and then to kind of dive just a little bit into the topic itself. Can you please tell us, please give just a synopsis of what you do or what you do on a daily basis in relation to STEM and how you have been contributing in terms of empowering women in STEM. I know we already have this in your background, but we just wanted to hear it from you directly. So maybe perhaps we can start with you, Madeline.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon once again. It's a pleasure joining this discussion on promoting equality and inclusion in leadership. Like Abdulkarim mentioned, I am Madeline Ilalaji. I work with Chocolate Banjo, and I'm also the secretary of the Information Technology Association of the Gambia. In terms of what I do, I believe Abdulkarim has already given a rundown of it, but on the most part, my work centers on advocacy and awareness creation and training in digital skills in the areas of basic digital literacy skills for women groups, for youth as well and women, and also a bit of digital security training to empower women groups on how to better secure their devices, mitigate online risk, and also know what ethical considerations there are in terms of internet usage for different purposes, academic and research. Thank you so much.
Okay, Abdul, can I come in?
Thank you so much for sharing, Madeline. Yes, Auntie Cody, you can come in.
Yeah. With regards to women in STEM, I believe we all know we have series of activities that we do. So apart from being a senior manager for transmission at Gambia Cellular, the other thing I do is to advocate for more women in STEM. So with WeSTEM, to help us achieve our objectives, we have series of activities that we conduct. We start from mentorship, career guidance. We have training sessions going on. We collaborated with one of the IT firms, and we have almost 36 Gambians who are being trained in the field of tech. And we also host annual conferences, one of which is coming next week Saturday. We'll be having our annual conference. And with the conference, what we look at is to hear from the young people. that is to have young girls in senior secondary or university, and even women in the field to share their experiences, the difficulties they face, and the like, and we try and get solutions for them. We have monthly webinars, and with the webinars, we allow the women in STEM professionals to share their stories, the challenges they face, how they overcome those challenges, and to where they are now. So with that, the students will be able to learn from them and know that when you face problems, you don't have to stop, you have to continue. And from there, they can learn from the professionals how they were able to overcome certain difficulties when they come through it. We also open up for scholarships, and currently we have 2 of our members in Asia. They are being sponsored by our main sponsor, the Skill Group Foundation. They are currently studying in Asia, and we share opportunities on the page, which is very good because a lot of people are benefiting from that. So basically, we open up that space where students going to school, young girls, can have access to professionals and communicate with them, ask them questions, seek for career guidance, and the like. Basically, that's what we do. Thank you.
Interesting, interesting. And I'm really glad that you are championing that change alongside your colleague. And just to take us from here, because with all the work that have been done in relation to empowering women, because this whole event itself started sometime back in 2011. And in 2024, UNESCO developed or shared a very interesting report highlighting some of the challenges faced by women in relation to entering into these STEM fields. And just to read out the statistics, in low income countries, 90% of adolescent girls aged 15 to 24 are offline, compared to 75% of adolescent boys who do not use the internet. And I think this have always been the culture, especially from our own communities in the Gambia. And looking at the Gambia, for example, 0.43, that is 43% or 43 female youth have digital skills for every 100 male youth who do. And girls have 9.1% chance of owning a mobile phone compared to men. These statistics got me thinking because there have always been this culture of STEM is not a field women choose. Women don't enter this field because they can't juggle their feminism in a way and responsibilities because the standards have always been set by men. So, Anticodo, you can come in.
Okay, and as I always say, we are at a stage wherein we have to overlook those things, like these fields are for women, and these are the fields that women can do, and these are the fields that men should do. We have passed that phase because it's about developing our country, as I always say in my speeches. It's about how we can catch up with the other parts of the world. We need to develop our country, and this is one area that we can easily develop our country. And looking at our population, we all know that we have more women and girls than men in the country. And most of the students who are not studying STEM field, it's just they are not properly introduced to those subjects because it's not about them not able to do courses in STEM or take up careers in STEM. It's about the wrong introduction that they were given. And once we support them just a bit, most of them, they don't need much because at least they have the skills to do those things. So we just need to introduce them properly to the fields of STEM so that they can also contribute. what does it what's the benefit? What does it benefit a country when you have people who can support and you are keeping them away because you feel that these are women, that they should not participate in these areas? When those skills that they, abilities they have can easily support us and develop our nation like any other country in the world. I believe we should pass that phase of saying that STEM is not for men, for women or girls, because it's not difficult. Like in my case, working as a transmission engineer, before it was difficult because the digital phase wasn't there. So when you have a fault, you have to go up to the provinces to try to sort out the problems. But now it's all digitalized. I can stay in my office and know what is happening in Basse. I can have a problem in Basse, and just with a single click, I can solve that problem. So what is so difficult about that? I think anything to do with taking care, being careful has to be done by women. Women are more known for those things. So I believe women can do all these things like engineering, software engineering, cybersecurity, and medicine. We just name them. It's possible. It's possible for them to do it. I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely, you do. So it is not about, let's say, what men can do or what women can do, but it's about identifying the opportunities that lie within our midst. What used to be challenges are now opportunities and innovation that we can leverage on to make things even easier and work for us in a way that is better. And I think that is so interesting. And one of the things that you also highlighted, which I would also love to dive into with Madeline, was the education part. Madeline, educators play a fundamental role in shaping students' future, but biases, both conscious and unconscious, can influence how girls perceive their place in STEM. And I believe this was something that I highlighted. I think we can all attest to the fact that mostly in our homes, especially when it comes to, let's say, access to these digital devices, specifically mobile phones. Usually, if both a girl and a boy are, let's say, within the age bracket here and there, it's usually easy for a boy to get access to the mobile phone and do whatever they want to do with it, right? But when it comes to the girl, it's always a different story. And you hear that most of our parents would say, ah, kii suñ ko joxee mobile bi rek dafay dem di call Farami. So this is something that have been implanted, let's say, from that very tender age. So for us, mobile phones, especially for girls, is just for them to use it for, let's say, for example, to be communicating with their boyfriends here and there, and not necessarily using for something that would actually benefit us as a whole. So how crucial are educators in shaping girls' interests and successes in STEM? Because I believe this is an area where that you're so passionate about and have been really doing great, especially with kids from Joppa Labs Banjo. Madin, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. Thank you so much, Abdul Karim. That is quite a good question. Basically, we send our children to school, and they're interested in the care of the administrators, principals, head teachers, and teachers. And then you see that there happens to be at times disparity in the way teaching is made, especially in STEM. For a child, even both boys and girls, for someone to be interested in a subject, it means that the teacher has done due diligence to teach it in such a way that it reflects in how they are interpreting it somewhat interesting. But if STEM subjects are taught in a way that it's made out to be difficult and teachers continue to emphasize how difficult it is, then students perceive it as something that's difficult and would not necessarily put in much effort to do that. So ensuring that we are keeping women and girls in STEM is by continuing to create enabling environments for them to strive. Because at the end of the day, children spend 8 hours in the school from Monday to Thursday. And that's a lot of time to spend to learn, to be nurtured, to grow, and to also create a community around that children can learn. So first, ensuring that educators are also, their capacities in teaching STEM is enhanced annually. It doesn't mean that just because someone has a degree in teaching a subject, that there isn't room for improvement. We need to also encourage teacher training in that aspect. Bring in bring in other teachers, other educators from around the world, especially those in other countries in Africa, to learn what are they doing well that has really improved it. Working on the standards of the books that we are producing in terms of access to education, making sure that our libraries are also equipped with an e-learning version of it that students can also learn through independent learning to work on the things that they are learning. And it's also our role to, as siblings, as parents, and as people who work in the workspace, to make sure that there are centers also around where children can have user-friendly experiences in STEM, to know what potentials it offers in the areas of technology, in the areas of innovation, in the areas of engineering, and what they can do with it. So when a girl has an interest in STEM, it means that she has really cultivated a passion for it. The educators need to encourage people that she's interacting at home, parents and siblings and guidance, need to encourage but not diminish what she is feeling. We also have to stop the culture of telling people that, oh, you have a maths homework or a science homework. This is really difficult. Why are you going to do science? Go and do arts. Go and do commerce. It's easier. Those are subjects that are easier to pass. Because at the end of the day, the basis of making the country work relies on how much we invest in STEM. And investing in STEM, a crucial part of it is investing in STEM education, making sure that our facilities are equipped with things that children can learn, not just through theoretical approach, but also bring into life practicals in what they are learning. Because at the end of the day, if one cannot visualize what they're learning or replicate a model for it to a problem that they have here, it becomes quite difficult. I remember in high school, our physics teacher in grade 10, he was quite difficult with how he was teaching us physics. And at the end of the day, 90% of grade 10s failed physics for the first term, and a lot of us were very much discouraged to continue learning it. But what happened? We had a very active principal then in St. Peter's, late Father Bruno, and he called a meeting with all of us, every student, and he went around the whole grade 10 set, bringing us out one by one. What's your grade in physics? What's your grade in physics? And I still remember him getting to me and he's like, you have an honors pass, but you failed physics. How do you explain that? I'm like, well, I was just there. I was speechless like everybody else because we all failed physics. Those who made honors, those who made merit, those who got a pass, we all failed physics. And he looked at us and he was like, okay, this cannot go on, because if this continues to go on, it's going to be a problem. And then second term of grade 10, he made sure that there was another substitute teacher that was brought in, and letters were written to our parents to let them know that even though we're in grade 10 and we're not supposed to stay beyond 2 p.m., we are going to be in the school working with a teacher Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays to make sure that we could get a better understanding of physics. And the other teacher that he brought in just changed the game. Now we were interested. We were forming study groups. We were helping each other. We were spending more time in the labs to learn. And this really helped. And that was just a vision that an administrator have, to know that there was a problem. How do I address the problem? I need to know that if at the end of the day 90% of the class is failing, it's not just on the students, the teacher too. How do I make sure that I am also bringing in someone who could make them love the subject? And that helped a lot of us, because by the time we got to grade 12, the number of people who couldn't get a credit in physics was less, and this was really good. So making sure that those environments are created, that administrators are looking at the problems that arise when students struggle, from when they struggle, not just when they get to grade 12 or they have to go into uni and all of that. Thank you so much.
Well, That is interesting. And just to read a comment out there, as he said, well said, we basically don't have to go with the concept that women and girls are not qualified for that field, rather giving them the environment to show off their skills and in these areas matters. And then I think you really highlighted something that is very relevant and culturally sensitive at the same time, that the basics of making a country work depends on how we invest in them. And one day starts with the policies that we put out there, right? The educational system, the strategies, how we go about empowering these young people, providing the right equipments and then the tools, for example, and all of other stuff just to make things work. And in the Gambia, sadly, it has always been challenging because, especially when it comes to representation and anything that have to do with education, the value have not always been given and created in a way, and this kind of tends to limit us back. And just to bring in Auntie Kodo, just to build on from where Madeline stopped, I believe that you have been working with a lot of women out there, particularly from different schools, organizing hackathons, right? Ensuring that these girls work collaboratively to develop meaningful solutions that address community-based problems. But then again, going back to the challenge, the stereotype have always influenced the perception of who should actually be, who belongs in STEM, right? And often discouraging many girls from pursuing careers in this particular field. And something that Mandarin also highlighted, support from family, I believe, institutions and even members play a crucial role in supporting the journey of women in STEM, because many successful women attribute their achievement to a stronger support system, and I believe you are a clear example of that. How do you think we can elaborate on the importance of these support structures in helping women thrive in STEM and leadership?
Hello, Abdul. The internet was breaking. Can I get that again?
Okay, so just to go straight, like Madeline did mention or highlighted that support from family members, institutions, you name it, and even mentors play a crucial role in supporting the journey of women in STEM.
Mhm.
And many women, I believe you are a clear example of that, attribute their success to a strong support system.
Mhm.
Can you please elaborate on the importance of these support structures in helping women thrive in STEM and leadership roles?
Yes, it is really important to have to support these young women in their career. As I mentioned earlier, it's not about them not having the ability to do what to strive in STEM. It's about giving them the right support, like Madeline just mentioned about a proper to having properly trained teachers. It's very important because you don't expect them to the teachers to teach these students properly when they are not well trained. The second thing is also the not having proper labs in place. The laboratories have to be well equipped for students to be able to have hands on what they're learning, because it gets more interesting when they have access to have practicals in their classes. It is important for the parents also to support them, and this is one reason why we are coming up with one program. It's a televised program called STEM Leadership Dialogue, where we will be inviting women who have succeeded in STEM. We'll be inviting policymakers. We'll be inviting government officials and development partner representatives. It's coming up after Ramadan. So this will give the parents access to watch these shows and have these discussions at their home level. And also it will expose the women who are currently in STEM and they are doing very well. When their parents see these women doing very well, it will encourage them to have their girls study the courses they want to study. Sometimes it's not the student not wanting to study courses in STEM, but because their parents dictate them. I had one experience with a student from Nusrat the last time. She called me. She wanted to study science and wanted to be a gynecologist. but the parents passed away, and she was living with a foster parent, the mother. The woman said if she wants her to continue going to school, she has to study what she asked her to study, which was not science. And the girl wanted to be a gynecologist because we had this women in STEM being launched in that school. And from then, the girl developed this interest of becoming a gynecologist. But the parent is not accepting. So what we had to do was to collect the mom's number and at least have a discussion with her and later assign a mentor to that girl. So we have these problems in our societies. And you can imagine what I've been monitoring that girl, and she's doing very well in her courses. So it can come to a stage where that girl can be something in this country. She can be solving problems in this country. She can be attending to women. And in most cases, women, when they are delivering, we don't want men to take care of us. We want to have women doctors to be around. When we have issues related to reproduction, we prefer ladies to men. So all this should be something that our parents should be hearing on a daily basis to allow their students, their kids to study STEM courses. And the other thing also is the policies. We need policies in place. So Women in STEM is coming up with this STEM leadership dialogue so that we can suggest some ideas. You can exchange ideas with policymakers and discuss issues that are affecting students. You can't encourage a girl to study STEM when the labs in the schools are not properly equipped. You won't expect that girl to do well in that area because she cannot. When it comes to STEM, you want to see it live. You need to do something that will develop your interest in that area. What just being taught in practical and in theory, you will not be able to relate what you are learning to reality. So you should have that environment where you can relate what you are reading to what is in the field. And this is where having proper labs comes into play. The last time I visited the Vice President, and this was one of the key areas that I discussed with him. We really need very good labs in our school system. The only schools that you can find better, at least labs that students can use, is private schools. But when it comes to government schools, it's a no-go area. So you can't expect those students to perform very well. That's where we are inviting government officials in our STEM leadership dialogue to discuss these issues that we face with them so that they can take the right step to address them. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think that is key because we cannot talk about development without collaboration and bringing all stakeholders on board. And I'm really glad that the Women in STEM Gambia is really taking up this initiative to be able to bring all the actors, all the players, and everyone that have an interest in STEM to identify most of the challenges, and then from there even develop policy white papers and even recommendations, and even something that could even develop into laws and here and there, just to make sure that women are empowered, women are supported, and not only women, even men, boys, everyone. Because when we talk about, for example, access to STEM resources, not only let's say limited to a particular gender, but it is something inclusive. And like Madeline said before, the basics of making a country work depends on how we invest in STEM. And I believe that this is something that will continue to hinder us back as a nation. But time without numbers, we have been having these discussions, recommendations have been provided here and there. But I believe that now is the time. Technology is growing, technology is evolving, and if we continue to lag behind, we're just going to be here forever because other countries are moving. And Madeline, Antikodo highlighted something that is very important because many girls who initially showed interest in STEM have been discouraged or pushed away by either gender biases or even lack of opportunities or even limited representation. how can we encourage, motivate, and bring back women and girls who have faced these barriers to re-engage in STEM? And most importantly, what role do you think mentorship plays in this? Because as an organization, that is Coaches of Influence Foundation, this is something what we do. We mentor boys and girls, we mentor educators, we mentor leaders, we provide them with the right structures and everything that they need to unlock their opportunities. And just to hear it from you, as someone who have really been working with different actors and stakeholders, not only in the Gambia but even outside of the Gambia, how do you think we can bridge this gap?
Thank you, Abdikari. We all know how important the power of mentorship is. Having a mentor can really help redefine and shape the direction of your career path. For women who are still in school, the best way that we could possibly have this is to encourage establishing communities like what Women in STEM is doing, having women in STEM chapters in schools. This really helps create a network for young women to see that in the different endeavors, they are not alone in the careers that they want to take. As someone else's advice could be helpful, we've all shared reasons how sometimes structures that are in place could discourage a young girl from going into STEM, be it at the school level or at the home level. But creating networks that students can participate in, encouraging annual career fairs, if it can even happen, career days that can happen every time, so that someone who is thriving in their field can get a chance to encourage girls in school to continue loving the STEM subjects that they have. As
Mhm.
professionals, too, I always have this thing whenever I am invited to a talk or a workshop that I conduct, and I make it known that anyone who wants to stay in contact, wants me to be their mentor, I'm very much happy to be there. And I have watched some of the young women I have had a privilege to mentor, like Sina Bucham. She was one of my mentees and Fatundao, and I watch what they're doing, and I'm really proud. And I remember meeting this girls at women in STEM conversations too, for women tech makers, as well as for one that was done by the youth community under the Youth Empowerment Project. And I feel really inspired watching them now take a stage, stand up, have their own voices heard. They've done their programs, they've finished, they're continuing to support their individual learning journeys. Another thing that can help too, you might not always find yourself in a position to have a mentor, so you need to structure what you want and be firm and committed about it. There are different ways. If you're not able to get a mentor in the traditional space, you can pick up interest to also join in online communities. There are a lot of spaces that people are hosting to talk about women in careers. You have like what the Women in STEM is doing, Twitter spaces. Every Friday, you will see someone hosting a talk on something that might be of interest to you. Also, making sure that young girls know the power of their voices, being advocates for themselves first. Because at the end of the day, we might be from a distance, not in the same school setting that they are, but advocating for themselves. What does your school need that would enhance your learning? Do you need more career guidance counselors? Do you need the school to structure its initiatives in such a way that students are assigned to teachers that would also help shape their mentorship journeys? This would be very, very vital, because at the end of the day, you cannot just also say, oh, I want this, it's not provided. How can you make it move for yourself? How can you make it come into life for yourself? So mentorship, I have greatly benefited uh, from mentors in the spaces that I have been at, be it at school, be it at university, because there sometimes you get really a good gift where people just like you and they want to make sure that your journey is relevant to and also aligns with what they're doing and how they can help you get there. So making sure that you find the people who connect with you, not just on a career journey, but also share similar beliefs and perspectives with certain things that you want to do. And knowing that in terms of mentorship, it has to be a professional relationship. You have to know where the boundaries are. What do you want to achieve? Keep the communication with regards to that. Share what are your barriers. Be open about what are your challenges so far, and also being willing to learn. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not able to help you through the goal that you have, someone else is able to do that. You don't have to stick with me because I am more vocal. If you're someone who's interested in engineering, I might not be the best person for that. I can help connect you to someone who's in the field who can better guide you how to go about that. If you're interested in tech, I'd be relevant in there. If you're interested in education and innovation, I'd be relevant in there. So finding people who align with the purpose that you want to have, making sure that also you're fighting for to have a voice in the spaces that you are. Because at the end of the day, students should not just go to school and follow conventional teaching practices and what is already established there. What initiatives can you bring to make learning more meaningful to your journey? How could you also come up with ideas that can also help other students as well? What professionals can you bring in? And also tap in from alumni networks, because a lot of us have graduated in different schools. How do we ensure we are also going back to give back what we have learned along our journey to inspire someone else? Because this is very helpful when children can identify that, oh, this person is doing what I want to do. I think I am on the right path. Making sure that schools are also leveraging alumni networks to bring in former students, to talk to students, not just waiting for once a year, having career fair. Every time a conversation could be had with one person or a group of people. It doesn't even always have to fall in the school days. It could even be held on a Saturday. What can we do to better enhance the journeys of students, making sure that we are creating communities and network for them to speak up, for them to learn, for them to try, and for them to also understand what are the problems that are happening around their region and how can they contribute to creating solutions in terms of meaningful development and sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline. That was so profound. And to our audience out there listening, if you don't have a book, you're missing. I am being schooled right now. I am writing a lot. Currently, I even have 2 pages already full with notes. So if you're out there, you're not taking notes, oh my God, my brother, my sister, you are missing. STEM is now, and we have 2 loaded panelists sharing a lot of insights on how best we can create a meaningful ecosystem that empowers women in this space. But even going beyond women, we have men, we the boys out there. Like I said in the beginning, we should be co-actors and co-players. So just to throw a question to you, our audience, just here on the chat, what does STEM means to you? And how do you think we can empower women or each other in this space? What does STEM means to you, and how do you think we should empower women or each other in this space? So, Auntie Koro, to come to you, Madeline talked about the importance of mentorship, highlighting key initiatives, strategies, and structures on how best we can further empower women, and especially when it comes to mentorship coaching here and there. And I believe that you, as someone too that have really been working with girls and then providing them with this mentorship and coaching, could you also come in and then just share a little bit of insight in relation to this on the importance of mentorship and coaching? Because we are an organization that firmly believe that to unlock someone's potential, they need to be connected to someone who have walked the journey that they have never walked before, someone that have been there, someone that have more experience than they do, to be able to guide them, to coach them, to mentor them, and then create that pathway and shortcut so that they wouldn't go through the same challenges that they went through. So maybe you can just come in and then just say a little bit of insight in relation to this.
Yes, Abdul, I believe Madeleine mentioned said it all. Women in STEM, we deeply believe in mentorship, and We have what we call girls in STEM chapters in senior secondary schools and universities. So what we do with these chapters is to have a high-profile professional who will serve as the chapter leader. The chapter leader should be from Women in STEM, and we have chapter members. So what we do is at each term, we have an activity that has to be conducted at the school level. So this will create a safe space, like sort of for these girls to interact with professionals. Normally, we prefer to have more than 5 women in STEM professionals managing a particular chapter. So apart from that, we have STEM leadership. We have STEM career talks, where we invite professionals. It depends on what area we want to focus our discussions on. The last one was on artificial intelligence, and where we invited professionals in these areas and converged at the American corner and invited students from each of our chapters. So with the chapters also, since we don't have enough space to have all of them there, we invite 2 or 3 students from each chapter. So these students will come and learn from those professionals and go back and share the knowledge with their fellow students. So at each chapter also, we have a STEM ambassador, a woman in STEM ambassador at that school. So that girl will create a communication link for us. Anything we want to share with the chapter, it will be easy. And there is a WhatsApp group also for STEM, women in STEM chapter leaders and teacher coordinators. Exactly, I forgot to mention that. At each school, we identify one teacher who will serve as a coordinator for all our activities. So we have a very good relationship with students at school level. That shows the importance of mentorship. And from this time we started, I've seen great improvement in these areas. We have other programs also. That's the STEM career talk. And we have one-on-one mentors also. Like if a student wants to have a personal mentor, we will identify what area she wants to do, like if she wants to be an engineer or a gynecologist or an air traffic controller. Once she identified the area she wants to focus on, we will get her one of the Women in STEM members to serve as a personal mentor. This shows the importance of mentorship because it's really a guide. It's really a connection that students need to help them shape their careers. And we are putting so much focus on mentorship when it comes to women in STEM. Thank you.
Awesome. That is so profound. And I totally agree with you. And I believe that is one of the most structured initiative that one could actually take to engage these girls and make sure that they're not only introduced to things, but then again, they also have someone who guides them. And just to quote from our mother, Dr. Margaret, he said, you don't just gather people just to have events or conversations with them. When you gather people, you build relationships. And I think this is the path that you are really taking. So thank you so much. So just to come in again, just a little bit. When we look at women representation, especially in terms of governance, because during the conversation, a lot of things came up that have to do with policies. And sadly, especially in this part of the world, in Gambia, looking at our National Assembly, for example, we have 3 out of 58 National Assembly members who are women. At the executive level, we have 3 out of 23 cabinet members who are women. At the local level, we have 8 out of 120 councillors who are women. And traditionally, within the alcalosip, among others, we have about 13 out of 1,887 who are women. So as long as we continue to have this painted statistics empowering women to get the skills here and there. But when it comes to advancing into leadership roles, to be able to be to be part of the decision making processes, it's usually a challenge. What do you think we can do? And this is to both of you. And maybe Auntie Kodo, you can come first. What do you think we can do as a country, as a society, and as different actors and players to empower women, not only for them to be empowered with these STEM-related skills, but at the same time to be given everything that is required for them to take these leadership roles and be part of the whole process, be part of the discussion, be part of the decision-making processes. And I think it is even high time that we start thinking of having our first minister of digital economy in the Gambia. But anyway, to you, please come in.
Okay, thank you very much, Abdul Karim. I totally agree with you. And when you were mentioning the statistics, I was like, and they are nominated by women.
Exactly.
Yeah, they are nominated by women. Most of the voters, or when it comes to elections or any other activity, you see more women and youth than men. And I believe it is really important for us to start changing the dynamic and engage more women in leadership roles. Because when at home level, you prefer to give everything to your wife to manage, because she's a better, she's the better manager at that level. So it's the same thing. When you give them responsibilities, they take it upon themselves and make sure that what they are asked to do, they do it to the best of their abilities. So if we can entrust our wives or our mothers with our households, we should be able to entrust them at leadership positions. And the second thing is that women should be there for other women. We should not be women who will be bringing other women down. That's the problem we face as Gambians. They will, you will see women trying to bring down other women, or try to, how do I say this, in a better way, in a nice way, belittle other women when they are doing very well, and expect you to, they will prefer themselves to be in those leadership roles. So whatever you do, they will try to bring down your efforts and make sure that you fail in whatever you're doing. This is a major problem we face as women. We should be able to support each other and help each other when we are working towards something. As Gambians, at the level we are at now, it's not about this person is doing this thing. It's about how we can work together as human beings, not as women or as men, but as human beings to develop our country. We are lacking behind. I've been to many countries around the world, and really it hurts a lot to see other countries developing, and we are still lacking behind because of other women trying to bring others down. It's really bad, and we have to start working towards that end. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Koda. That is really so profound, because these are the realities of our society. We, in the beginning, we can support each other, but as time continues to evolve and jealousy start to come in, and limitations start to come in. So instead of supporting one another, instead of supporting or trying to be each other's keeper, we strive to bring in kind of initiative that would tend to bring these people down, especially when it comes to the aspect of women. Women comprise of more than 50% of our population, and yet it's always sad that they're always underrepresented, not only within the STEM field, but within the political space, within governance, and so on, and even across different sectors. So I think that the right mechanisms, the right strategies, and the changes of mindset really um, needs to be kind of cultured in everything that we do so that we can empower ourselves. Because there's this saying that when we lift a woman, we lift a society. And I believe that if women are also given that particular that leadership role, if they're given the opportunity to be part of the table, to be part of the decision making processes, our societies will continue to thrive. But beyond that, more people will be empowered, because what we are doing is not only to kind of bring women forward, but to bring our societies forward, to catalyze and then create the change that we all desire. And that change cannot happen in just one segment. Literally, everyone needs to be included, and that is women, men, children, youth, etc. So thank you so much for sharing that. And to our audience out there, if you have any questions, please try sending them now. We will try taking questions in the next few minutes. So if you have any question, any comments, or any feedback to our panelists, please go ahead and then share them on the chat, and then we will go ahead and read them out. To Madeline, what is your take on that?
Auntie Carter has really made very, very good points that most of us are aware of. Encouraging women to take spaces in leadership is making sure that there are policies in place that ensures that if a woman has the same qualification and she has been managing and leading her team, she can also climb up the ladder. Another thing too that sometimes could be a problem is that as we often feel as women that we have to just take what is being offered to us. No, that shouldn't be the case. Um, there are women who have worked at offices for 10, 15 years. And every time there is an issue at the office, they're the ones who are called to solve the issues, be it to manage the team, to supervise, to offer some sort of advice at an administrative or executive level. They're the ones doing that, but they do not hold the title of that position, of a higher ranking position, but they're the ones making things work, making things move, and still the title isn't there. We also have to cultivate a sense of knowing what we bring to the table, what our value is, and making sure that that is clear. If a position is open for promotion and I have the right requirements and the qualifications for that, and I can perform on the job, let me not sit around for it to be handed over to me, because most of the times we can be looked over. Oh, she has responsibilities, or when we need her to put in more hours, she might not be here, and all of that. No, when what really matters at the workplace needs to be done, it's the woman who's doing it. It's the woman who's managing the team, calling the shots, but why isn't she offered that promotion? So making sure too, like Auntie Carter said, we often find ourselves in this space of competition with other women. And the culture should be we should encourage each other to thrive. We should encourage women to go, oh, there's this position open. They're asking for this. You can do it. Apply for it. You have the qualification. Beef up your CV. Put in the work that you need to. Make sure that you were selling your story in the best possible way to not be overlooked. Because most of the time things can go wrong, most of the times we can be overlooked, but if we start making sure that based on our qualifications, work experiences, the job that we do, that we are taking up the positions and other women can see us, then it makes it very easy for a woman to say, oh, I want to be the director of Pura someday, or I want to be the head of head of marketing at Gamtel, or I want to be responsible for maintaining the computer systems at an office. And other girls can see that there is potential to grow in the spaces, that women are not just at home or at the offices in the secretarial desks, no, or at the background where things are done at the background, but they're also taking the center stage to make sure that we are part of the tables and the discussions where change is being made. Because if we do not account for the numbers, the policies that are coming out will not favor us. If we're not there, especially as women and also as young women, policies will not favor us. Things will come out that do not reflect our realities and our struggles. And at the end of the day, we will just be complaining about what went wrong without really also saying how we might have influenced a decision to go in a certain way. So making sure always that we are speaking up, that we are growing in our careers, being very ambitious as much as possible, to not just be okay with being led by someone else, taking the leadership roles, being part of the conversations, sitting in meetings, making sure that our voices are heard. You can do stuff, you know your stuff. Don't pass your question to someone else or your response to someone else, your male colleague, to give it. And at the end of the day, that person speaking is given the accolades while you're the one who taught it up. Bring out your ideas, say them, the initiatives, the projects you want to do. Bring them out, say them, and make sure that due is given to you when an opportunity arises. And to also stick together as women communities in offices or in the networks that we play, like uh, for women tech makers, we are doing a very good job also in terms of mentorship. That community has created such a network whereby university students can see what the opportunities are there to what they need to look up. Because you have I, Teres, Ejifama, Patunda, we are speaking up, we are taking the spaces where we are also growing in our fields, and other young women can see, yes, there's a potential to do this. I just need to make sure that I'm finding the right network. And also in taking up leadership space, you have to build yourself around a community of women too who inspire us, inspire you rather, be it at the workplace or in your personal life. Because as women, we thrive on communities. Something didn't go right, you tell your girl pal about it. She having that hype to tell you, oh no, this is what you should do. I think this would have been better done this way. Or I think you were wonderful and you were smart and you can get this. That alone, the boost that it's going to give you to make sure that you were putting yourself in the space that you need to grow, can help you a lot in every area of your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madeline. That was so profound. And like I said before, I am really schooled. I have been taking a lot of notes, and I believe everyone out there is also taking notes. So thank you, Madeline. Thank you, Auntie Kodu. It has really been inspiring listening to both of you to not only share your stories, but at the same time to inspire and empower a generation of women out there. So thank you so much, and congratulations once again. So just to read out some of the interesting comments that we have there, we have from Hadifal, Auntie Kodu, you are really recognized. You have Siaka Toure, amazing coverage. You have Fatu Jom, sharing impressive, and Sena Bujata, wow, impressive. You have Sena Bujata said, proud of you, Auntie Kodu, Madeline. A lot of interesting conversations, and it's really interesting to know that really the conversation or the panel discussion have really been interesting. And then we have from Hadifal who said, how can we make STEM more appealing and accessible to young girls? So this is to both of you, Madeline and Auntie Kodu. If you can just go in briefly, how can we make STEM more appealing and accessible to young girls?
We can start with Madeline.
Madeline, would you like to come first?
Yes. Okay, sure. To make STEM more appealing, first it begins with, why are you interested in STEM? That's a question you should be able to answer. Why do you think things move the way that they do? I picked up my interest in STEM when I was in high school, when we had the change of teacher, and he would talk about some really interesting and cool things in physics that I would sometimes think of, because I used to just sit outside and be looking, oh, why do the clouds move the way they do? Or why does gravity happen a certain way? And I wanted answers to those questions. So when you pick up an interest in something, you want to find the answers in it. For it to be appealing, someone else has power to make it really shiny and flashy for you, yes, can happen. At other times, it might not happen. But you finding the answers too in the way that they are relevant to what you were doing. What is your interest in it? We can say that, yes, encouraging teachers to teach in a certain method by incorporating the theories of learning into classrooms to cater for different learning groups, auditory, those who learn through visual process, and those who learn through physical activities. But those things might not always happen in large classroom sizes. So that's why creating communities is very, very important. When you learn something, look at it from the building block. What is the structural formation of that? When a teacher teaches you in class, for instance, you're talking about thermodynamics and you don't understand anything about it, but you're like, oh, I want to be an engineer. For you to be an engineer, you have to understand how thermodynamics work. What can you do for yourself to also make sure that you were doing the research that you need? Because sometimes the classrooms might not always offer the appeal that you were looking for. But we live in a digital age. Some kid around the world, or some other woman, or some other graduate has done so well in explaining certain topics, certain subjects in such a way that it is very cool. It helps you understand it when you begin to see it work. One thing we could also very much encourage here in Gambia is bring back television time for children at 6 p.m., where we bring in people not just explaining the how the theories of things work, but showing the practical aspects of it. And what building in Gambia that this is that this principle and science uh, is was made to work in a setting in terms of, like, look at what happened during the OIC. There was a lot of road project expansions, but why are they putting flyovers in certain places and not in other places? So you ask topics around it and bring answers to children in such a way that it makes it meaningful for them to be able to understand. I'm always advocating for local context based learning, and this is the trick to making science very appealing to Gambian students. Because if you're trying to solve the problem of a building for someone who's not in Gambia, you do not know where that building is. You cannot really visualize it to find a solution to that. But when we teach children to learn things in agriculture, in math, science, in literature, in English, in architecture, with problems that we have encountered in our fields. Let's say, for instance, Gamtel had a problem, the load shed had a problem also, or they have a problem of supplying this particular demand, even though they have the demand in the physical sense, but what they can supply to a particular region is not working. How can you bring that into the books that children are learning? Because if a child is able to visualize, oh, this is what happens, this is why sometimes there is load shed in a particular area, one street has light, the other street does not have light, and they're beginning to pick up those concepts in the way that they can visualize it with the problems that they have and also correlate it with what they are learning. It brings appeal. So I'm a very big fan of that, making sure we are learning through the problems that we are encountering rather than substituting someone else's context into our curriculum and make it very generic and abstract for students to begin to mirror it down into what really happens at their own level. So the biggest thing we could do is make sure that we encourage our books to be written by us using our problems. Gamtel has problems. The telecommunications, they encounter problems. We encounter problems in business and entrepreneurship, in technology at the ports. All of those problems that arise from working on a day-to-day to provide service can be used as case studies in our books, in aggregate, in English, literature, maths, and science. And in that way, we're helping children look at the problems that are here in a different way, and they can contextualize it. And through contextualizing it, they can see the appeal and the beauty of creating solutions around that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madeline.
Oh, Madeline. Madeline, we are so proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing that. From the chat, can we please start giving thumbs up, love emojis here and there to our audience? These people are just so amazing. I love you. I love you, Madeline and Auntie Cody. You guys are just so amazing. Auntie Cody, you can come in, please.
Yes, I believe Madeline has answered the question. And one thing also we should think of is trying to take ownership of our problems. As Gambians, we have series of problems that we can solve through STEM. And we should be able to look into solutions that can solve the problems that we face as Gambians. It's not about loving STEM, but how can we use them to solve the problems we face as citizens. Growing up as a girl, I developed interest in STEM through a brother of mine. I can remember when I completed grade 12, there was nothing much I could do because I was waiting for my results, and by then my brother was working for Gantel. So I had this interest of reading. So I started reading his manuals. That was how I developed interest in that area. So you should do more research. I will encourage students to do research, because you won't just say that I want to be this without making research, finding out what when I study this, how can I apply this in our society? What am I going to solve in our society? What problem can I attend to when I study this? And there are many, many, many problems that we face as Gambians that we can solve through STEM. So it should be something, sort of an ownership. We should take ownership of the problems we face as Gambians and use them to solve them and attend to issues that are affecting our country and are issues that are putting Gambia in the list of the least developed countries in the world. We should be able to solve those problems that we face on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ajikoru and Madeline. Once again, I think you highlighted something that is very important: identifying our own local problems and solving them on a local context based on the different experiences that we had. And Madeline, you also mentioned something that was so interesting, is using these problems as case studies in our books, which I believe is something that is really amazing. All that we do in or learn in our science books, in our ICT books here and there is just limited to, for example, most of the things that have been there for decades, for ages, and most of those things are not even applicable nowadays. You start learning about amoeba, you start learning about paramecium here and there, but then again, those are things that you would even never see. So I think it's really important that we start kind of remodeling our educational system, particularly anything that have to do with technology and STEM as a whole, and then see how best we can improve the standards. Because again, what we are doing is to cultivate the culture and empower the young people who are the actors of change and implicate cord between the current and future generations to come. At some point, all of us are going to perhaps just give a chance to the young people coming up. And if they are not really empowered, if they are not coached, if they are not equipped with the necessary skills and resources, obviously we will still go back to the same system. And each and every one of them at that point would also stand having the same conversation that we used to have 30, 40 years ago. And I think it is high time that we start changing the dynamics. So just to go in a bit, to read some of the comments again, Kumba Jan said, I remember when I was doing my IT essential course, I was told these courses are for men, but I go for it and I did well. So congratulations, Aji Kumba Jan. We have Aji Fatu Sala. She said, my understanding in STEM is in this context, I believe, means an area of education or career path, one choosing to drive innovation and economic growth. Thank you so much, Ajifat Sala. Ajifat Sala again went in to say in how to empower women and girls in this area. I believe mentorship, as the panel suggested, and integrating strongly into our educational school curriculum can help spark interest and confidence in this in girls. Thank you so much. So interesting comments related to amazing, so profound, powerful, wow, amazing. This is awesome. Panelists, you really did great. These two ladies are the true definition of woman king. Thank you for always setting the bar high for women and girls. And that is from Fatundao. Thank you so much for sharing that, Fatundao. So we also heard from Fatundao again, if you are looking for a role model or a mentor, these two are the right people you need to look up. Thank you. So we're exactly at 4:50, and this panel is expected to end at 5 p.m. to be exact. So my last question to you, now going into the technological aspect of it, it's really revolutionizing industries. Today we are talking about artificial intelligence. It is really displacing a lot of jobs. innovation continue to grow, not only on this side, but I believe that eventually as we continue to adjust across different sectors, each and every person will require some form of digital skills. And just to paint in another interesting statistic from the African Union and the World Bank, to be more precise, they said by 2030, and this is something that I have been saying times without numbers, 230 million jobs in the African continent would require some form of digital skills. And yet, over 30% of our population, or 60% of our population, don't even have the required digital skills to take advantage of this opportunity. Where are we as a country, Gambia to be more precise? And for someone listening out there, especially to our audience who are interested in pursuing a career, be it in STEM or technology, where should they start from? And I believe this should be the takeaway for them. Where should they start from? And what are some of the other existing platforms that they can leverage on to make meaningful career opportunities in this field? Maybe
Okay.
Auntie Cody, you can comment first.
Yes, thank you very much, Abdul Karim, for asking this question. I remember mentioning this. I think I wrote a post on this, and I was contacted by, that is introducing digital literacy in junior schools. And I was contacted by one National Assembly member, and he wanted me to write a proposal on how we can introduce digital skills in junior secondary schools, and I did. I believe this is very important. It is really important because you cannot talk about AI, you cannot talk about innovation without having the basic digital skills. And we can't continue as a nation having digital skills, students introduced to digital skills after completing grade 12 or having to go to private courses to study such. We should be able to introduce students to digital skills at primary school, senior school level. Another thing is that as we continue to advocate for this as a nation, students will also take responsibilities of their own problems. If you look at the statistics, we have more girls or more young youth engaged in social media. Just imagine the time you spend on a daily basis on social media without learning a thing. But you could have used, we have so many resources online. During our school days, we did not have the access to have courses online, free courses online, or even to research something related to the courses that we are learning at the library. So we basically just go to the library to study other stuff that are not related to what we are doing. But students now have access to social media, to the internet, and there are so many resources out there. You can teach yourself a skill. At least every day, what I normally tell students in senior secondary school, at least a day, take 1 hour of your time to learn something. Do it for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. You will see drastic changes in you. Don't use the social media, all your time on the internet, doing things that will not benefit you. At the end, it is even exposing you to a series of risks. So instead of exposing yourself to certain risks, you can use that time to study something that can benefit you, and you can also contribute to the development of your own country. We have to take ownership of our nation, and you don't have to start when you complete school. You can start at this level. You need to start as early as possible, and to help you to start or contribute to your nation, you have to read. You have to know, have the basic needs like digital skills at an early age. Take your time. I will advise all students on this platform. Can you hear me, Abdul?
Absolutely, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would advise everyone to learn a skill. At least every year, at the end of each year, you should be able to learn one skill. We have cybersecurity, we have data science, we have artificial intelligence. Everybody is talking about AI. You go and learn a thing about AI, at least, and try and apply it in your daily activities. See what problem you have in society. How can I use that AI or that cybersecurity to solve a problem that is affecting the people of this country? That's what I have to tell every student on this platform. Thank you.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. So, to our audience out there, to each and every one of you, let's make a commitment. Let's say my mission for the year 2025 is to acquire at least a digital skill. So, let's start writing on the chat. My mission for 2025 is to acquire at least one digital skill. Let's start writing. I want to see them coming. Madeline, we have about 4 minutes to end this panel. So just briefly, maybe in 1 minute, 30 seconds, to just give us a highlight of the question to someone listening out there.
Yes. Digital skills, the importance of digital skills cannot be underemphasized. You need it in everything that you were doing. Just last week, I was in Farfanya doing a training with the Media Academy, MAJAC, where I was had to train 40 women on digital skills in Farfanya. And I see that most of the time, because curriculums are not designed to cater for that, at the schools, students often overlook the opportunity. I asked the students, do you have labs in your schools? And they were like, yes. Do you know if there's internet? I don't know because I've never been there. There are spaces that are created there. Speak to your teachers. If your curriculum does not provide it, or if it does and it's not effective, speak to your teachers. Use the labs, the computer labs, to learn the skills that you can. Use your devices, the data that you were buying, to check on platforms like FutureLearn, edX, Coursera, to learn the skills that you need. Pick up interest in knowing what technology is, what are the new trends, what emerging technologies are coming up. Learn how to research, learn how to do things that you could just learn by basically making sure that you are enhancing your skill online, because you cannot move to the next stage of your life if you're not moving along with the innovation happening, if you're not able to access the devices that you have to do the research that you need in order to grow your business or to even grow yourself as a young person. You need to learn these skills. So I would stop there. Thank you so much, and I hope that you take out the time to empower yourself and not just leave it at the responsibilities of schools and institutions and the government to do that. No, be pragmatic in your approach to success and make sure that you're positioning yourself in the right spaces, learning the things you need to grow in the way that you have, and have a vision. At the end of the day, monitor and evaluate if you've made progress in the things you wanted to achieve in 2025. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I think that is a very powerful closing remark, Madeline and Auntie Kodu. I think the session have really been an engaging one that have really impacted and inspired not everyone who is on board listening out there, but also at the same time created meaningful opportunities on how best we can explore additional opportunities to further restructure and advance our educational system. Thank you once again all for taking the time to join us in this conversation. It has been an interesting one, an engaging one full of learning, one full of excitement, one full of opportunities. Mentorship has really been highlighted. And for those of us coming from Coaches of Influence Foundation, we know how important this is. So we just want to say thank you. We are so grateful on behalf of the Coaches United Nations Secretariat. And we just want to say thank you. We love you. It has been a pleasure having each and every one of you. And to our audience out there listening, we just want to say thank you. So this is part of our diploma, which is under the Coaches United Nations simulation. And I just would like to invite Simon to come in and then just give us a background context and then just do the closing remarks finally. And then, yeah, we end it here. So once again, thank you all. It has been a pleasure moderating this panel.
Thank you so much, Honorable Abdul Karim Baji and the panelists, Madeline and Kodu. This has been a very, very profound discussion. You know, we have been flying and now we are about to land, you know, and I started on a very high tone with so much excitement, but you know, there is a lot that has been shared, and I'm just trying to let everything sink in because a lot has been shared. And if you are a woman or a girl out there, the key takeaway that the speakers have actually highlighted is that take responsibility for your learning. There is a lot of opportunities out there on social media that you can learn. Don't wait for anybody. Like Lady Bola is saying, take ownership and responsibility. So it's actually been an exciting moment. So this event was actually brought to you. Is brought to you by Coaches of Influence Foundation under the flagship program of Coaches United Nations Simulation. Now, Coaches of Influence Foundation is an organization that exists to influence identity. So what we do at Coaches of Influence Foundation is to empower, coach, mentor, train, and inspire people to go in for personal development. And this is one of our diplomatic talks, which we have quarterly. So continue to connect with us on our social media platform. It's already shared here, so you can get update on rest of our events coming up. So we have key important events that are coming up on our way. So just keep keep connected to Coaches United Nations Simulation, and you will get to learn a lot about what we do. So one of our events that is coming is the International Women's Day, and it's on March 8th. Please continue to connect, and you will get to learn a lot about what we do. And under Coaches of Influence Foundation, we have graduation coming on February 22nd at Dunas Bidik Hotel. So if you are here in the Gambia, you are actually invited to come join us as we celebrate mentees who have been through mentorship. Like the speakers were actually saying, it's important to get mentorship. So keep connecting to Coaches of Influence Foundation, and you will learn a lot about the importance of mentorship, like the speakers have highlighted. So I want to take this beautiful and wonderful opportunity to just appreciate you all for staying here throughout this session. It's actually over 1 hour 40 minutes, and we are really glad that you all have joined. And we also say a special thank to our panelists, Madeline and Kodu, for honoring our invitation and the opportunity from Coaches of Influence Foundation, the executive board, and the senior leaders, and everybody who has taken part in making this event as successful. And to you all participants for joining and for sharing and for commenting and for asking questions and participating. We are really grateful for you joining, and we are really glad that you are here with us as we dialogue on International Day of Women and Girls in STEM. And to the tech team as well, we are grateful. We thank you all for your support. We are really, it's actually been a great time here with you all. Thank you so much, and let's get connected on social media on our cons platform, and we will see another time for our Diplomatic Talk series. Thank you all, and you all have a wonderful day. The panel discussion was great. I never even wanted it to end.